Today I'm going to be showing you how to turn jeans into a maxi skirt, so welcome. If you're new here, my name is Sandra and this is my space where I sew things that you can easily sew too. So let's get into the tutorial. These are the pair of jeans that I'm going to be turning into a maxi skirt. Now, a couple of really important things to remember. The jeans that you pick are super important because the shape of the jeans that you start with is going to impact the shape of the maxi skirt that you end up with. So for my jeans, these are a more loose pair. They have a straight wide leg type fit. They're not super tight on me, which is perfect because it means my maxi skirt will also be more roomy and will just have the shape that I want. If you use a pair of skinny jeans, your skirt will end up being like super tight and follow the shape of the skinny jeans that you have. If you use like a boot cut style pair of jeans, your skirt will have the same kind of shape and flare. So if you want your skirt to turn out exactly like mine, you will need to start off with a pair of jeans that fits similarly. So not super tight, not clinging to the body, and a nice kind of like straight down fit. When it comes to equipment, you really just need a sewing machine. I'm also going to be using an overlocker, and you can use one if you have it. It just makes my sewing a lot faster. If you don't have an overlocker, just substitute your stitching with a tight zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. Let's get into it. So the first step you're going to do is you're going to take your jeans and then turn them inside out. You're then going to cut out the inside leg seam, which is this seam on the inside where your thighs are of the trousers. So all the way from this point all the way inside, and just cutting out that inside leg seam. You can either use a seam ripper, but this will take you longer, or scissors, which is what I'm going to be using today. I'm going to start from one leg and then cut this out. When you get to the crotch, it's a little bit tough because of the thickness of the fabric, but cut through all the way through the crotch. And you want to cut as close as possible to the seam to preserve the fabric if you're using scissors like me. I'm also going to cut out this seam right here. I'm going to cut this out as well. Next, you're going to turn the shape of your jeans into its new shape, which is the shape of a skirt, and then place that on the floor. So this is going to be the back of my skirt and this is going to be the front. In order to be able to walk in your maxi skirt, you need to have a slit. So you need to have a slit either at the front of the skirt or at the back of the skirt, depending on the look that you are going for. For me personally, I want a really long slit in the front, so I'm going to have my slit over here on this side. So for the back of the skirt, I am not going to have a slit anywhere. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be cutting this piece of fabric here all the way down like this so that it makes the shape of a skirt. I want it to look nice and neat, so I'm going to actually use chalk first to mark the shape that I want at the back before I put scissors to my fabric. I'm going to take a ruler and literally just draw a straight line. And now I'm just going to cut through that line and cut through both pieces of fabric. You don't want any sharp edges because it'll reflect on the shape of the skirt. I'm now going to take some pins and I'm going to pin these two sides together all the way from the top until the bottom. I've tried the skirt on inside out. Now, for me personally, I want a really long slit. So I'm going to take a piece of chalk and I'm going to mark where I want my slit to reach. Do this according to what your preference of slit is. This is the point that I had marked, so I'm going to just add a pin on this point as well so that I don't lose it. We need to fix the shape of the front of the skirt. So you're going to take a ruler and draw out a straight line from the top all the way down. Now that I've drawn that line, just like I did the back, I'm going to cut this bit off with scissors. As you can see, it now has a really nice straight shape and it now looks like a skirt. We can now move on to the fun part, which is sewing. So I'm going to be using an overlocker and I'm going to overlock the back of my skirt and join these two pieces of fabric together. I'm going to overlock from this point all the way down to the bottom. If you don't have an overlocker, again, just use a sewing machine on a straight stitch, and then after you've done your straight stitch, use a very tight zigzag stitch to overlock the edges. Now for the front of the skirt, I'm going to be overlocking the edge. So I'll be overlocking starting here, all the way around, through the crotch, all the way up to the other side. This is how this skirt now looks like. This is the point that I had marked with chalk where I wanted my slit to reach. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pin and just put it here so that I can see that chalk line a bit better. And then you're going to take these two sides of fabric, you're going to place them together like this, all right? Up until where the chalk line that you drew is, you're going to take a pin and just join these two pieces together. Then you are going to take a pin and just attach the rest of this together. With our sewing machine, we are going to do a straight stitch all the way from this point up until here. What I'm also going to do to make sure that my stitching is really secure, where the slit starts, I'm going to do a straight stitch starting from here up until here, just across a couple of times back and forth. For the rest of the skirt, we are going to take one side of the slit and fold the fabric like this and pin. You're going to pin all the way down the bottom of the skirt till you reach the end. Make sure you're pinning the same amount of fabric so that it is nice and even. We basically want to hide this piece of fabric that we overlocked so that the outside of our skirt is nice and neat. You're going to do the same exact thing to the other side of your slit. On our sewing machine, we're going to sew a straight stitch all along this fold that we made. So all the way around up until we reach the initial point that we started, which is this point right here. We're going to do the same thing to the other side. And again, using a sewing machine, sewing a straight stitch all the way from this point up until the end. And make sure you match your thread with the color of your trousers or jeans, because you're going to see this stitching on the outside of the skirt. I'm going to use a straight stitch with a stitch length of 3, and remember to start and end with a back stitch. I'm done. This is how the skirt fits at the moment. Okay, you can see there's a bit of like a sharpness to the bum here. And so what I'm going to do for my skirt, I need to adjust it because I want it to fit like this. Okay? Just a bit more fitted at the top. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this, bunch it to how tight I want. Then I'm going to mark with chalk on each side so that I know how much to take in. And also this part which is like sharp is not cute. So I'm going to bring in this fabric all the way until this point so that it's nice and smooth instead of having this weird bit over here. Here are the chalk marks that I did. I'm going to just mirror them onto the inside of the skirt. So I'm going to take these two sides and join them together like this, and I'm going to pin this together. I'm going to pin down up until here. up until the point that I finished my overlock. I'm going to flip it this way, and then I'm going to cut off this excess fabric here. This is the point that I pinned. I'm going to just take my ruler, is the point that I really just want to smooth out. And so I'm going to take my chalk and kind of do somewhat of a straight line. I'm now going to take my scissors Now, before I waste my thread and overlock this, I'm just going to sew a straight stitch with my sewing machine, joining all the way from here up until this point to see how it fits first. The back looks a million times better and I'm really happy with it. And so now I'm going to go ahead and overlock that bit that I just sewed together so that it's nice and neat. The skirt is now done. I'm just going to show you how the stitching looks like from the inside. As you can see, nice straight overlocked edge all the way to the bottom of the skirt. And at the front, here, stitched together here, and then the slit is folded. And you are done. And this is the final result. I love this skirt so much. It is exactly what I had in mind. I love the shape, I love the fit. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next tutorial.